Okay, so you've got this amazing trip to the US planned. You're probably super excited, right? But then there's the visa application. And let's be honest, it can feel like trying to solve a giant, complicated puzzle. Well, don't you worry. Think of this explainer as your cheat sheet. We're going to break it all down, piece by piece.
So here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the basics. What even is a visitor visa? Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty with a 5-step application plan. After that, we're going to talk about the absolute most important part, proving you're coming back home. Then we'll prep you for the super fast interview, and finally, we'll look at what happens when you get that final decision. Sound good? Let's dive in.
All right, first things first. Before we get lost in the details, let's make sure we're all on the same page. What is this visitor visa we're talking about?
Okay, the single most important word here is non-immigrant. Seriously, burn that into your brain. It means this visa is for a temporary trip. You're a guest. The whole idea is that you're just visiting for a little while and then you're heading back home. This is absolutely not a ticket to live or work in the US permanently.
So you'll see these two codes, B1 and B2, and you might be wondering, what's the difference? Well, think of it this way. B1 is for business. You're there for meetings, conferences, that kind of stuff. Key point though, you can't be getting paid by a US company. The B2 is for pleasure, vacations, seeing family, the fun stuff. But here's the cool part. Most of the time, they just give you a combined B1/B2 visa, so you get the best of both worlds, which is super convenient.
Now, this next part is huge, and a lot of people get this wrong. Getting that visa stamped in your passport, it feels like you've crossed the finish line. But you haven't. Not quite. Think of the visa as your ticket to the party. It gets you to the front door. But it's the Customs and Border Protection officer at the airport, they're the bouncer. They make the final call on whether you actually get in.
Okay, so we've got the what down. Now let's talk about the how. This is the practical, step-by-step guide that will take you from right now all the way to that interview.
And yeah, looking at the whole thing, it can feel like a mountain of paperwork. You're probably thinking, where on earth do I even start? It's a totally fair question. But trust me, there's a method to the madness, and it's actually pretty logical once you see it laid out.
And here is that path. It's really these 5 core steps. 1, figure out if you're eligible and where to apply. 2, fill out that big online form, the DS-160. 3, pay the application fees. 4, get that all-important interview on the calendar. And 5, start gathering all the documents you'll need to bring with you. We're going to zoom in on a couple of these.
Okay, let's talk about that DS-160 form for a second. Because honestly, this is the backbone of your whole case. Everything, and I mean everything, you say in your interview is going to be checked against what you wrote on this form. So you've got to be completely, totally, 100% honest and accurate. Any little inconsistency is a huge red flag for them.
All right, let's talk about the cost. Right now, the standard fee you're looking at is $185. Now, the important thing to remember is that this fee is non-refundable. Yep, that means if you get denied, you don't get that money back. And just a heads up, there can sometimes be other fees like this visa integrity fee, so you always want to double-check the exact cost on your local consulate's website.
Okay, I really need you to listen to this next part. When it comes to scheduling your interview, you have got to plan way ahead. I'm not kidding. In some places, the wait times are just insane. We're talking months, and in some cases, more than a year out. So if you're thinking about a trip next summer, you probably should have started the process yesterday. The main takeaway here is do not procrastinate.
Okay, we've walked through the steps, the forms, the fees. But now we've arrived at the heart of the matter. This is the whole game, right here. It's the one thing that will literally make or break your application, proving that you have strong ties to your home country.
So this right here, this is straight from US law, and it might sound a little backwards. But essentially, the law requires the consular officer to assume that you plan to stay in the US forever. It's kind of like you're presumed to be an immigrant, and the entire burden of proof is on you to convince them otherwise. You have to show them, without a doubt, that you have every reason to go back home.
So how do you prove it? Well, words aren't enough. You can't just say, I promise I'll come back. You need to show them with cold, hard proof. We're talking about things that tie you to your country, a good, stable job, a house or apartment that you own. Maybe you want a business, a family, a spouse, kids who are in school. All of these things paint a picture that your life, your responsibilities, your future, it's all waiting for you back home.
All right, you've done all the paperwork, you've paid the fees, you've gathered up a mountain of documents, you've probably waited for months, and now it's showtime. It's time for the final showdown, the interview itself.
And here's the kicker, the thing that blows everyone's mind. After all those months of waiting and preparing, the interview is usually over in a flash. We're talking 2 to 5 minutes. That is it. All that work boils down to just a couple of 100 seconds to make your case. No pressure, right?
So, with so little time, you have to be on your A game. Your answers need to be sharp, honest, and to the point. They have to line up perfectly with what's on your DS-160, and you need a crystal clear reason for your trip. Don't just say, to see America. Say, I'm going to my cousin's wedding in Chicago for 1 week. Oh, and this should be obvious, but I have to say it. Do not, under any circumstances, bring fake documents. They will find out, and you will be banned, probably for life. It's just not worth it. Okay, the interview's over. You walk away from the window. What happens now? Let's break down the possible decisions you can get.
Now, if your visa gets refused, look at this chart. The overwhelming reason, like the vast majority of the time, is something called a Section 214B refusal. And what does that mean? It's simple. It means you didn't successfully prove you have strong enough ties to your home country. It all comes back to that.
So basically, it boils down to one of these 3 outcomes. Best case scenario, you're approved. Awesome. You'll get your passport back in a few days with that beautiful visa stamp inside. Then there's the most common denial, that 214B. That means you didn't prove your ties. You can't apply again, but you really shouldn't unless something big has changed in your life. And finally, there's this third one, 221G, which is basically limbo. It means they need more info or more time. It's not a no yet, but it's not a yes either.
So I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. After hearing all of this, what is your single strongest piece of evidence? What's the one thing you have that screams, I am coming back? Is it your career, your kids, your business? Seriously, take a second. Figure out what that is. Because knowing your ace in the hole, well, that's the key to this whole thing.